Hi everybody and welcome back to the Twin Spires Triple Crown vidcast. My name's Peter Thomas Fornatale and I'm here this week to take a look at the Wood Memorial from Aqueduct, a race that features a heavy favorite and also a horse who is the favorite for the Kentucky Derby coming into this race, and that horse is number 5, Uncle Mo. Uncle Mo is here in the number 5 stall. You'll see him break in a second here. He breaks in the tiniest little bit of a tangle, suffering a very minor injury, but I'm not sure that's what really affects the ultimate outcome of this race. I think Connections would have probably preferred Uncle Mo to be able to rate behind another speed horse today, but nobody's fast enough to make the lead over him, so he goes right to the front through between horses there, and he gets a pretty easy lead in the end. Another thing I want to look at early in this race is number 2, Toby's Corner. Toby's Corner is a horse who's had some issues in the stretch in his last 2 races, not running straight, and as a result, Connections decided to fit him with blinkers today. And interestingly, while a lot of horses get lit up and keen when blinkers are first added, Toby's Corner seems to relax better. Here he is, nicely in hand, obeying jockey's instructions, looking rather loaded. But speaking of loaded, back to Uncle Mo on the front end. At this point, he's gone a half mile in about 48 flat, and my assumption was that when Uncle Mo got to the top of the lane, he would quicken, win by somewhere between 3 and 5 lengths, and go on to cement his status as about an even money Kentucky Derby favorite. But there's a moment here as they're turning for home where the entire Kentucky Derby picture changes. Let's see if I can isolate the moment that is. Let's see. I'm going to stop it right about here. You can see the key rivals here are all on the stretch. Uncle Mo, still nicely in hand, still racing with his head nice and low. You can see Toby's Corner enter the picture, still traveling extremely nicely. Most of these others at this point wouldn't appear to have a chance. And then, right about here, instead of quickening as expected, Uncle Mo's being asked, and he just starts grinding and not really doing very well. As predicted, some of these others are backing up. Here comes Arthur's Tail. Here comes Toby's Corner. Toby's Corner has to briefly check and move to an outside path. And this time now, with the blinkers on in the lane, he's running straight as an arrow. And not only is he going to run down Uncle Mo, he's going to get up over Arthur's Tail, who's the one who made that first move. Uncle Mo, very unimpressive back in third. You'll see an interesting moment here on the gallop out. In this space before, I've talked about how likely it was that Toby's Corner would want to run a distance. He shows real signs of this on the gallop out, galloping out like a freight train, and then here, even when he's being asked to pull up, he doesn't want to pull up. He wants to keep running. That's got to be a good sign for the first Saturday in May. The figure he earned here isn't super duper impressive, but neither were the speed figures that were earned by the other key Kentucky Derby rivals in their final prep races. So he's definitely one who's got to go on the list. There's a look at him once again, checking very briefly before straightening out and powering home in the lane. As for Uncle Mo, there's been a lot of gossip on the backstretch and on Twitter that he's going to be out of the Kentucky Derby, but that's not what we've seen so far in actuality. It sure seems like he's still being pointed to the race. Was grabbing a quarter, the little injury he suffered at the start of the race, a valid excuse? My best guess is that no, it's not. It more seemed to me like he was a horse who traveled really well and maybe just didn't want to go this far. My friend Harvey Pack jokes that these Indian Charlies can just hit a wall at the mile and a 16th mark. Did Uncle Mo hit the Indian Charlie wall? He may well have. I certainly couldn't back him with any confidence going into Louisville. And the Kentucky Derby picture is suddenly wide open. That might be fun from a handicapping point of view. Race certainly has lost a little bit of his luster as a sporting event, but that's okay. It's horse racing, and finding a horse to win at a great number is the most fun of all. So that's it for this week. I'll be back next week with my analysis of the Arkansas Derby from Oaklawn. Until then, I'm Peter Thomas Fornatale for TwinSpires.com.